We live in a multicultural world. We travel a life-giving way. So we can't possibly turn in on ourselves or turn our backs on the world. The last commission Jesus gave to his followers was to immerse the world's diverse peoples in the presence of God, who is not monochrome, but, so to speak, multicultural. Matthew 28, verse 19. Over the 2,000 years since Jesus' commission, people have engaged in mission in both magnificent and horrendous ways. If the motive for mission is domination or self-advertisement, it is a travesty of Jesus' intention. If the motive is love, it is beautiful. This Waymark reminds us that we do not reach out just from duty, but because God's Spirit is giving us a heart for people who are strangers to God. Our goal is as big as it's possible to be. In the words of St. Paul, it is that the whole created order may be reconciled to God through Christ. Colossians 1:20. And in the words of Jesus, it is that the world may believe. John 17:21. In order to carry out our part, we work at disciplines that make us effective as witnesses, often in small, everyday ways. Put at its simplest, we travel as hungry beggars who tell other hungry travellers where to find bread. In an interfaith age, we find the approach of Aidan centuries ago the most helpful. We make friends, establish trust, and invite one another to share honest convictions and be listened to with respect. Often people who promote their religion only want to tell their version of their own and the other's religion. They are unwilling to listen to the other. Interfaith dialogue, whether an organised meeting or a chat over a cuppa, allows the Spirit of truth to lead people into all truth. St. Francis famously said, "Preach the gospel without words if possible." St. Paul urged us to give a reason for the hope that is in us. It may help us to practice giving a reason, so that if we are asked, we have something to say. It may help us to practice telling stories of our experiences, including what Jesus has done for us. Write them down, perhaps, or put them on the internet. Tell them to ourselves, to children, or to guests we invite to a meal, where each can tell a bit of their own story. Only a few of us are called to be full-time missionaries, but each of us can bear witness in some way. Extroverts will do it one way, introverts another. But each has a light, and this we must not hide. According to our gifts and opportunities, we counter what is false by the reality of our love, the thoughtfulness of our arguments, and the power of our prayers. Sometimes the Holy Spirit leads people into fresh, organised initiatives to explain the good news of Christ and bring God to people. We may be called to be part of such an initiative. Why not discuss with our soul friend what we may do to reach out to others that takes us beyond our own familiar comfort zones? Sharing justice. There is more about justice in the Bible than almost any other aspect of human life. Justice is the benchmark by which we shall be judged, as Jesus' parable recorded in Matthew chapter 25 teaches. We care about the plight of the poor and those unjustly treated. If we are among the poor, we remember that it is better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. If we have enough for our own needs, we refuse to retire into a comfortable shell. We keep our eyes open to the needs of others. One person supports refugees and another the homeless. One person gives donations to a needy cause and another holds them in prayer. One person fights for transparency in business and another for fair treatment for the little guys in the workplace or the neighbourhood. Too much contemporary Christianity is polarised between those who evangelise lost souls but don't care about justice, and those who care for the oppressed but don't care whether they find a relationship with God. In this way of life, both evangelism and social care flow as one stream out of the belly of Christ's compassion. As we are able, we dialogue and work with people of goodwill in places of influence, so that our lands may be led by people who are led by God, and our world become more whole. For some, all this seems too much, and they are tempted to turn back. Remember that this vast vision and these high callings are for the travellers altogether. The duty of each individual is simply to be present to Christ in the present moment, ready to be called by him or laid aside by him. Whether you are in a corridor of power or a neglected backwater, whether you are strong or weak, whether you are growing into adulthood or nearing the end of your earthly journey, ask this one thing: what would Jesus do? In the silence, think of the light Christ has put within you. Where does he want it to shine at the present time? Think of God who calls us to do justly and walk humbly with our God. What action, what gift or other support does God encourage you to give? Journey on, sharing Jesus and justice. Keep a godly balance, and remember to throw in smiles and touches of creativity as you reach out to others.